when I was having a conversation with a lot of Indians, the mindset that they had is that I serve all my clients at the same level, whether they pay me $7, whether they pay me 2,000 or $10,000 or even $100,000. I'll serve everyone at the same level. What do you think about that?
Day two, she froze. She didn't want to show up on camera. And she says, guys, I'm so sorry I'm letting you guys down because I don't know what it is. I can talk in an audience. Give me a room, I'll be fine. The moment I turn the camera on, I just go blank. I can't say anything. That fast forward 3 months later, she started her own YouTube channel proper. She was on a podcast. She had her own podcast. I was like, dude, this is cool. Keep on rocking it out. Challenges are a lot of fun to make an impact, make an influence, and make a great amount of income. Let's go.
All right, welcome to the Beyond Challenges podcast. We are here with another amazing story from an entrepreneur who has done multiple challenges and has changed a lot of lives so far. And one of the things that I love about him is that he is a person who understands um, the purpose of doing what he's doing, and then he goes ahead and do it. Now, when I was having a conversation with him before we started this podcast, we connected so well that I really understood that whatever he does with a purpose. So I'm just gonna introduce him right now, and we are gonna bring him on stage so that he can share more of his secrets with us. Okay, so the person we are talking about is somebody who is a co-founder of EWA, the Epic Wealth Academy, a company that helps 10x entrepreneurs and business coaches double leads, income, and impact by just creating more videos. He and his team have developed a unique approach that has helped numerous clients achieve success and wealth through the power of videos. Now, when we were doing some of the background research, we found that for one of his clients, when he made more videos for them, like they generated 26,000 leads. Oh my God. And that is like $26 million in sales, in sales revenue that he helped him generate. That is amazing. Now, with a background so big and so impactful, he helps his clients achieve 100K and $1 million days. I'm not talking about months or years. So he has this saying that you're just one video away from your fortune. I'm talking about Sohan Gokhran, the co-founder of EWA. So let's just welcome him. And I'm pretty sure after this one video, your challenge game is gonna go into another level. All right. So welcome, Sohan.
Yay! Awesome introduction, man. Thanks a lot, Moose. I'm excited to be here on the show with you. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I mean, I couldn't wait. We have been trying a while to get on this podcast,
Great.
and when we finally did, I was like, oh my God. I mean, he's such great energy, right? Thank you so much for coming over here, Sohan. It's a pleasure to have
Anytime,
you.
man. It's a pleasure to be here, buddy. It's an honor to be here. It's always an honor to serve. And, what you're doing is fantastic. When we spoke just before getting on, I was just absolutely blown away in my head. I'm going, oh shit, this is exciting. Excuse my French. I was like, oh my God, this is exciting because all of a sudden I'm, I'm actually here with somebody who understands the game of challenges. That's important. And you respect the game of challenges and you understand the value of staying in it for the long run, not just making a quick buck out of it. And that was very, very powerful. So, you having to run a podcast at the moment as the first pioneering in the space for challenges only and specializing in allowing people to see and learn and grow from it, mate, this is a big deal. So like I said, I'm honored to be able to be one of the first few guests that you had in your show. And this made this podcast really grow big and big and big and bigger than you can ever imagine.
Man, it's an honor. It's an honor, man. Thank you so much, Sohan, for hopping in. And
Anytime.
now, before we start, can you share with us like a bit of your backstory and your journey on how you started and how did it, like a person from India, Mumbai, came to Australia and is now crushing millions of dollars for his clients? I mean, what's the story?
Well, thank you. It's interesting. I was born in Mumbai, raised in Kuwait. I lived in Kuwait for the first 12 years of my life, and then we evacuated Kuwait during the war. So just before the Gulf War kicked in the 1991. No, yeah, the 91 is when the Gulf War was in. Um, the invasion happened in 1990, and I was probably about 11 then, about 10 or 11 years old.
Wow.
And it was quite interesting. We were there in the war zone for the first 45 days in Kuwait, and it was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. It really gave me the value of understanding how human value is important, and human value at the time, at the age of 10, it didn't make sense, but today I understand that in terms of time. And so I see that, and no, there's no coincidence, because my queen, who is the co-founder of our company and also the queen of confidence on camera for our clients and our community, she's the world's first miracle survivor. She died twice and came back to life, and she's in the medical journals. And she shouldn't be alive. She's 48. 2 days, 3 days ago, she turned 48. And normally, someone with her condition, medical condition, don't make it beyond 40. And when she walked out of the hospital, people were like, "Wow!" And so people, everything that's happening in our life that I value is realizing that time is more valuable than anything else you have. Any amount of money, anything else, any excuse, it's infinitely more valuable than any excuse that anyone would create. And so that started there, that journey of 45 days, getting a second chance to live, because we were literally in the war zone. We had Scud missiles flying in from it was like a movie, and if anyone's watched the movie Argo, have you watched the movie Argo?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I won't ruin it for the listeners who haven't watched it. Guys, go and watch Argo. But there is a scene at the end of the movie. There's a flight scene, and I
Mm-hmm.
won't ruin it anymore. But that scene at the end of the movie, that scene was very similar to what I experienced and my family experienced going back to India when we were evacuating. So we went,
Mm-hmm.
we had to drive through the borders of Kuwait, went to Iraq, stayed in Iraq for 10 days. And then from Iraq, we had to drive again to Jordan, Amman. And then from Amman, we had to fly out to India. And that was one of the most adventurous journeys of my life, getting a second chance to live. But from there on, I grew up in India. I graduated in India. I lived in a little city called Pune, which is not little anymore, which is close to Mumbai.
Yeah.
And then I rushed to Mumbai because I wanted to travel overseas, and I started working in the contact center world. Before which I was an entrepreneur, anyways, and I got into the network marketing world. Learned a lot about how to work with people, how to market, how to sell, how to position a product, how to build relationships with people, see what people understand in terms of their challenges that they're facing, to then relate that back to their dream. Also understanding how to cast a vision and then be able to help them to borrow that vision from me and tie that to their dream and then
Mm-hmm.
help them along the journey. So a lot of that came from working with companies like Ramway. I call them Ramway, but everyone knows who I'm talking about. And then worked with New Skin, worked with Herbalife. These are lots of companies that I got a chance to work with, but there's a lot to learn from that in terms of skills as marketing and sales. And then I was very young, so I made a lot of money then. I borrowed money from my father, bought a lot of inventory, sold it all, but then I didn't pay him back. And it got to a point, this is an important reason why I'm sharing this in the background, is that I made the money, didn't know how to keep it. And then when I didn't keep it, I didn't even pay him back. And because I didn't pay him back in time, he thought I'm not making money. So I was spending all my money as a young guy. I blew it up on all the crazy things that young guys blow up money on. And well, the young guys who don't have responsibilities, kind of young guy. And yeah, I don't want to get beaten up for all that, because there are a lot of young guys who know how to deal with money, and you're probably one of them too. So,
No,
so
no,
I was
no.
going,
I'm
it,
learning. I'm
it's
just learning from you. Yeah. Go on.
right. So he turns around. My family goes, "No, this is not making sense. You can't. Your business is not for you. I mean, you're not bringing any cash. We don't see it, and seeing is believing. That's a big issue. We're all raised in that society of seeing is believing, seeing is believing, seeing is believing, instead of the other way around. So I got to a point where I had to fight that, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to prove you guys wrong." So I went and got a job in Mumbai. I was just looking for a way to get to Mumbai, because Mumbai was a platform to go and travel around the world. And I got a job in a call center. And back then, back in the early 2000s, working in a call center was a lot of fun, because companies from America, companies from the UK, companies from Australia would outsource their work to India, and we were not allowed to tell our customers and clients where exactly we were, receiving phone calls from, or calling them from. We had to say that we were calling from a local area, and we were given an address, and we were described what it was. There was no Google Maps at the time. I sound like a dinosaur, bro, but it's not. It's true. That's what it was. It's like the internet
Bro,
age was just kicking in.
you
Um,
just seem like 23, man. Come on.
Thank you. Yeah, I stopped aging at 23. And what happened was, I I loved the job so much because it taught me so many skills of knowing how to relate with people over the phone, which came very handy today. And we'll tie that back in our conversation, because that allowed me to then coach other people. I got tapped on the shoulder to start coaching and training other people to say, hey, you're great at what you do. And what you're doing is you're duplicating your success by teaching the other new employees coming into the company, because they sit and listen to my calls, and then they would go and model what I was doing, and then they would get similar results or better results in some cases, right? Some of those guys were like kick-ass sales rock stars. They would beat my numbers, and I'm going, whoa, hang on a second. I was the guy who used to win the last week. I was the one who won it. All of a sudden, you're top in the charts. So they give me a run for my money, which is it's a great thing to show for a teacher if your student is doing better than you.
Yes,
And so
absolutely.
that's where my that someone tapped on the shoulder and said, let's start coaching and training. And that's when my coaching training journey began. 2000 close to 2002 is when my coaching journey began. And then 2 years after being involved with a company that I was training and coaching and traveling around Southeast Asia as one of the top coaches and trainers, I got this thing one day when I was going home. Why don't I start my own? Why don't I start my own coaching company? Why don't I start my own training company? Because the clients are reaching out to that company, and they're paying them a hefty amount of money for that training or coaching program, and I'm only getting like a measly bit. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going, no, I can really serve this client more if I had more money, because money is a resource and it's a tool. I can do so much more for the client as opposed to being restricted. And that one decision was powerful, because in 2004, on India's Independence Day, on the 15th of August, is when I resigned. And that was a Sunday, so there
Wow.
was no one there in that building. I just went in and I slipped my resignation letter under the boss's cabin, and I walked away saying goodbye to the security guard of the company and of the building. And I never turned around. And I had a client right on the back of that, and that began the journey of running a coaching company in India. And it was so much fun for the first 2 years. But then I decided to move to from India and move to Australia. Well, through New Zealand, and I moved to New Zealand first, and I was there for 10 years in New Zealand. So
Wow.
fast forward all that through, I moved to Australia in 2016, but all the skills that came with running my own coaching and training business gave me the power of knowing how to read people, understand what people really need, understand how people can really move from where they are to where they want to go, which is most people are in hell and they want to go to paradise. And I was the one to be able to guide them through, get past that cliff that they're struggling with. Um, and that's come so handy now. Fast forward now, we're running challenges is one way of doing it, and it's a great way to be able to allow people to get past that hell, knowing what paradise looks like, knowing that I'm the guy, I'm the bridge, we're the bridge as a company that we can take them there. And so it's been a lot of fun, you know.
Wow, wow, that's a really good story, and I love how you do the storytelling. I mean, this is one of the skills that I really want to learn. And I think when you mentioned that when you were doing the job, you thought that your clients are paying hefty amount of money to the company itself, so why not just get them on board? And since you will get paid more, you can serve them at a better level, right? Now, one of the ideas that I think when I was having a conversation with a lot of Indians, right? When I was doing a challenge over here, and the mindset that they had is that I serve all my clients at the same level, whether they pay me $7, whether they pay me 2,000 or $10,000 or even $100,000. I'll serve everyone at the same level. What do you think about that, though? I mean, like,
100%.
I feel like this is I, I don't think that you should serve somebody. I mean, by serving, I mean, yes, you should give them good knowledge, you should give them good information, but serving them at the highest level would only come when you get paid the most. Because if somebody pays you 1 million, if you serve them at the same level you're paying somebody $5, then you are not valuing the person who just paid you $1 million. What do you
Sure.
think about that?
Yeah, good question. See, this is where a lot of coaches get trapped in, and I used to get trapped into that too, because I used to think about the value that I would give someone would be based, and the value I would give is what I would equate to the way I was serving them at the highest, and I would relate both of those things to the amount of money I would charge them, the amount of money that they would pay for it, and I was so wrong. I was so wrong for so many years, because that kept me small, stuck in a place where I wasn't charging enough. And when I say enough, enough can be subjective, right? Everyone's got a different definition of what enough means. And that's good. But understanding why that is subjective and why it's different really helped to open up the doors to abundance for both the clients and us. And that
Yes.
was realizing that the value that we want to create or serve at the highest is based on what the client or the customer deems as valuable.
Mm,
I'll repeat that.
that's
The
interesting.
value that we want to give people is based on what they deem as valuable, not based on what I think is valuable to them, right? And
Mm,
so when that what is valuable to them, the customer and the client, is way more, this much way more worth than this much amount of money that they have to pay for it,
mhm,
all of a sudden the figure becomes irrelevant. That's what opened up my door. Like I went, oh my gosh, this was like a big, I had like a massive, massive awakening, right? A mind blowing awakening, because there I was in my company focusing on how we can charge someone so it makes it easier for them to pay. And don't get me
mhm,
wrong, sometimes that, that little devil sitting on the right shoulder still kind of tries to whisper and say, hey, maybe you can charge someone less so that you get them. And the answer was, no, that's not the way it's going to work. What's going to work is they have a problem. You can solve it for them. You are the only one who can solve it for them. That's a level of conviction and belief and certainty that's required without the arrogance in it. But knowing that you can serve them and you're the best, you're their guy or gal,
mhm,
and then being able to show them, not tell them, but show them how it can be resolved and then resolve it for them. And when they can see, when they can actually believe, borrowing your belief, because your belief is so strong of taking them to that paradise. And
mhm,
when they can see that paradise because they borrowed your belief without them even realizing they borrowed your belief, now
mhm,
they see whatever you're charging, whatever it is, $7, $17, $70, $700, $7,000, $70,000, or $700,000, or even $7 million. They don't care about the amount anymore because their belief is so strong, because it matches their need and their desire to want to get to that place, that paradise. They see that way more worth than that much. So all of a sudden, that money looks this much to them compared to the value they're going to get, because that value is what they saw as valuable, not what I said I was going to give you value. So in the beginning, I used to tell people, because you'd hear this from a lot of gurus about, hey, I'm going to give you value. You're going to get so much value from XYZ.
mhm,
And that's wrong languaging, because telling someone that you're going to get value from working with me doesn't mean it becomes valuable to them, does it? So whether you do it for free or whether you charge them a little or you charge them a lot, regardless, they're not going to find it valuable because you haven't helped them see what is valuable to them.
mhm,
And that's what I did for a long time. And so I'm sharing this with your audience because I want them to realize that, take your focus away from the amount of money you're going to charge, because it's completely irrelevant to the level of service you're going to, like the highest level of service, because you always want to serve at the highest. Say solving the problem is solving the problem in the best possible way, the fastest possible way. Because what clients want is they want to get a paradise real fast, right? They don't want to go slow. If you give them an option of going from hell to paradise and going from hell to paradise fast, they're going to pick the latter because it's fast. Want to get out of it as fast as possible. So then it doesn't matter whether I'm charging someone $7 or whether I'm charging them $70,000, because they're not interested in that. The only time they're really interested in that is that when they don't see the value of working with you. That means they're not finding what you're offering valuable enough. Working with you to get to their paradise fast is not valuable enough to them because we haven't done our job of showing them how valuable it can be to them. We haven't married the two. And that happens only because we fail to keep our focus on what's valuable to them. And instead, we focus on what we think is valuable to them.
right, right. Absolutely. Love that. Love that. So it's like we just have to communicate in a way that we can show them that whatever we are selling is valuable from their perspective, right?
100%.
And we have to believe in it and we have to do it our own selves.
Correct. 100%.
So,
And you know what?
yeah,
That's a good point. Can I just say something, add to
yeah,
that, to
yeah.
what you just shared? You said something really powerful as well. We got to do it ourselves too. And here's something that I was sharing with a client of mine yesterday. And I said to him, because he said, oh, one of the things he said is, when I get to this level, I'm going to actually go out to my community and I'm going to start working with some of those guys, especially some of my cousins, etc. Because he's got some people in his community that are professional athletes in football and rugby, and he wants to help them with their finances in terms of helping them set themselves up. But he's doing certain things which he's getting coached by us right now to build himself there. But he said, when I get to that level, then I'm going to show them, because his reasoning was, well, why would they listen to me if I haven't gotten there myself? And see, he doesn't have to be better than them to be able to teach them and show them where to go. Yeah, he has to do a little bit, so he has a bit of experience around the back around it, so he gets a bit of feel of it. But he doesn't have to get all the way and be, the champion of the champions. And I gave him the example of Novak Djokovic, and I said, guess what? Djokovic has coaches, but are Djokovic's coaches better than him on the court? No, no one's as good as Djokovic, right? Arguably. And so in his team, his support team, he still pays those coaches because he needs them, and those coaches help him to become the Djokovic he is, right? When he plays the game, but they're not Djokovic, and they're not as good as him or better than him. He's better than them. But does that mean those coaches can't coach them? No, those coaches are still there and they're working with him and they're charging him and he's paying them and he's paying at a high level. So it's a lesson for all coaches, because a lot of coaches get caught up in this and they think that they need to be able to do it all so that they can experience it all and reach the pinnacle and only then be able to share it with others, because otherwise it's incongruent. And the answer is, it's not necessary. You don't have to have all the answers. And as long as you're open about that and you can guide them and point them and you can collaborate, that's why collaboration is powerful. You don't have to be the expert. And we're not in our business. We can get an expert into different areas of what we do to help them position them to be able to make the $1 million a day or six figures a day. Or we don't have to be the one, right? Although we have, but we don't have to be the ones to do it all. We can always collaborate with others to facilitate that. Again, it's valuing what's valuable to them, which is usually speed. Success loves speed, money loves speed, and the ones that are the ones that are really hungry for success, they get it. They want to get there fast, and they want to do it with the team.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, it's very similar to how Myron says it, that the wealth has a need for speed, right?
Yes, that's it. That's right.
Absolutely. So, I mean, like, how did you come across it? Like, videos are the thing that you would want to go with. I mean, like, there are a lot of things, but why just videos? Why did you just go with videos that you said that, okay, this is the way that we can share our message with the whole world?
Yeah, good question. You know what? I'll be honest. The main reason I got on video right at the beginning was vanity. I was
Was
just
what?
vain at
Kind
the
of,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just vain. I liked the idea. I was like, hey, this is fun. Or growing up, I always loved being on the stage. Always acted. Got going to plays. Going to singing competitions. Dancing competitions, dance groups. In the dance groups, I always be front of stage in the dance troops, because in the dance troupe they usually have the best dancers in the front to look good, so the cameras catch that, and then the okay kind of dancers are in the middle or at the back, and the worst ones are at the back, right? So I'd always want to be in the front. So it was fun to be part of that. And so initially, when I started getting on video, I was like, this is a great way to be on video, get known, and get people to see what our brand is about, and be able to help people. Because when we started working the first training company and coaching company was really about being a success coach. Now I would never tell anyone to call themselves a success coach. By the way, that's another topic for another day. But because success means so many different things. What does it really mean, right?
Right,
Doesn't mean
right,
anything.
absolutely.
Um, but it sounded good to me. Again, the wrong focus. So at the time, in the beginning, it was great. Vanity was the way to go. So we got on camera. It was a great way to be able to convey a message than writing and typing. And I'm lazy when it comes to sending an email. I'm way better sending a text message or just jumping on doing a video or an audio message. Way better doing it like that. So that's how it got started. That's how I got involved in videos. That's the honest, raw answer. And very soon, I realized that it that video wasn't those videos are not going to fly. They're still there on YouTube, but those videos were not going to fly because they were not focused on the client so much. They were more focused on how I could look good for them to be able to get them to work with me, right? And that's the mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to doing videos. They're so focused on themselves that they end up freezing, they get wooden, they get scared, they get nervous, they lose confidence, they forget what they're going to say, they blabber on, and then they get self-conscious, and then eventually they don't even post the video. It either sits in the draft or gets deleted. Um, right? Until they realize that it's not about them, it's about the viewer, and how they can really make an impact on the viewer, and how they can influence the viewer, and how they can really get them to engage with you as a viewer. Until that point, they're constantly focused on themselves. So videos were a great way for us to turn around and say we can get that fast and it can go to the future. And it's the fastest way to build intimate connections with people. Relationships is the way to go. Businesses do business with people, not businesses. And video was the only way to be able to communicate that, because now people can get to see us as who we are, and if they like us, they'll work with us. If they know what we do, which is easy to express through a video, they'll know that we know our stuff. And if they realize that they like us and they know us, there's a good chance they'll trust us if we show up enough and we actually give them what's valuable to them through a video, because it's communicated so fast. And thank God we made that decision, Muz, because look at what's happening now. Everyone's talking about AI, but bringing the focus back to just the fact that video as a basic form of communication is the best way to build an intimate relationship with someone allows you to now customize your entire marketing plan and sales process to be able to not be a broke influencer, but actually be an influencer that's making money, income, and at the same time making an impact. So yeah, that's how we got into it.
Yeah, I mean, like when you say that videos are the way you could actually communicate with your audience, I mean, I feel like voice is one of the most important thing that your audience or your people need to listen to in order to connect with you, right? So most of the time when it happens, like previously people used to read blogs, right? Nowadays the attention span of people is not much, so you gotta catch it as soon as you can. And with videos and with visuals, you can do it faster than you would
Oh yeah.
without it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
And
I mean,
even
like,
more now, like people now don't even listen to me, like they're reading my captions, right? Because they're going they're busy doing something else. And some of them probably don't like my voice, and that's cool, or my face, but that's cool. But they want to read what's being said, so the captions are taking over the whole thing. It's like literally almost going back to reading, but they're doing it through, fascinatingly, they're doing it through a video format as opposed to reading a blog post, for example. They're still reading, but they want to read a caption, right? Because they get a chance to see motion in the background, which is the video. And if you're a talking head or whatever you're using in the background, it helps them. But they're still reading it on and keeping you on mute or on silent, which is very, very interesting statistically. So um, it makes it even more important for people to learn how to engage their audience and draw them in and get them immersed in the video, so that they don't ever have to worry about attention seeking span. Because the reality is, like, if you think about it now, Moose, even though the fact is that our attention seeking span has shrunk in today's day and age, the truth is we still pay attention to things that we really value, don't we?
yeah.
We'll sit there for hours, and how come we still end up being on YouTube, even though we went for one thing that we went to search for, and it could have taken arguably 20 seconds, 30 seconds, but we end up being there for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes later, and we're going, oh, and we've gone on this 17th video and we're glued to it. It's obviously not a span of attention now. It's a matter of the attention of interest.
Mm,
So if they're interested in you, they will come. That means if the only way to make someone interested in you is to be interesting. And
mm,
so that's the goal. If you want to beat the way, this is what we've discovered. If we want to beat the attention seeking span concept, focus away from the attention seeking span and focus on how you can be interesting to them. And the only way to be interesting to them is just to be interested in them.
mm. Wow, wow. I love that. I mean, like, it just changed my perspective. And you answered one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. Is that, like, I have already produced more than 500 videos for my own self, right? I
Wow.
started at the age of 19, and ever since I started making videos, today I'm 23. And
Wow.
with those 500 videos, none of my videos have gone viral. Okay, by
Mm,
viral, I mean, like, more than uh, 30,000, 40,000, or even 100,000 views, right?
mm,
And
mm.
when I look at it, I see, like, yes, some of the videos that have got at least 20,000 views or something, they were entertaining videos rather than educational ones.
There you go. There you go. And you're like scratching your head going, what? Those are
Yeah,
just made out of fun. And the real serious ones are not really, I mean, those were not going to be life changing. Why are they getting the attention, right? That's the thought process, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, I am going to start using captions a lot.
Yeah, good.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. So I mean, like, once you get the traction through videos, like, what is your strategy to convert them into leads?
Yeah, good question. So, when someone watches our video, we typically want to make sure that we're conscious of what kind of video we're putting out in front of them. We don't call to action on everything. We want to build a relationship with people. So, majority of the population and people who don't know us, and that's the cold audience. And so we'll
Mhm.
not make a call to action at the end of the video in those ones. We'll just let the video end. Or at the most, the call to action will be as soft as, hey, see you at the next video. Or we'll be talking about ABC that we just mentioned here briefly. Stay tuned and watch for that one. So that allows them to just build a trust, and that allows us to then see how many of them are really paying attention to that information, so that we can then filter them then to offer them a training. So we give them a free training. We have a really cool free training that it's a 6-part training. It really shows people all the mistakes that typically, well, there are 6 powerful, crazy mistakes that a lot of business owners and coaches make around the world when it comes to video creation. And if they can avoid those mistakes, it's a game changer. That's what allowed us, but it took me a long time to be able to figure those all out. So we compile them, we give that training away. Once we get a lead from there, then we help them to see how they can participate in our challenge. And then in our challenge, we get a chance to sit and work with them for 5 days, give them what they really, really want and what they really need, and then allow them to. There are 2 main factors that happen through the challenge. We figure out really clearly what their frustrations are, and then we figure out clearly what their immediate what's the word wants are. We don't focus on their desires, and we don't focus on their what you call it, on
Leads.
their, yeah, because the thing is with the needs and the desires is there's a long term. They're not immediate. Like they're when I say needs, I translate that, we inside internally translate that as fears that customers have or clients have. And fears are usually very they're very futuristic based. They're not immediate. So a frustration is something that's even more immediate than a fear. Like you could be fearful of you're shutting down your coaching business because it's not making you any money, and you might be fearful of having to go back and trying to find a job. Right? I've
Mhm.
been there in those kind of situations. That's a fear, but it's not going to happen tonight because you're still going to give it a go. So it's still a fear. You're thinking maybe that could happen this coming weekend, maybe that'll happen the following weekend, maybe it'll happen next month. That's a fear. A frustration is even worse. A frustration is like it's niggling at you right now, that's causing you to have either an argument with your someone at home that you love and you're taking out the frustration on them, or a frustration could be because you are not getting a lead right now and you've made nothing and you're struggling, or you can't get a video on, or you just can't seem to get your framework or your system in place that everyone talks about, that you need to have a system. So that's an immediate issue that needs to be dealt with. So that's something that you can talk to immediately, and that's what we focus on in the challenge, because we can resolve that in 5 days. We can't resolve bigger things in 5 days. We need much more time. And then with regards to the plus side, where there's a paradise they want to go, we usually make sure that these leads that have come through into the challenge, they see the power of, okay, we don't want to focus on your desires, because your desires are your big dreams, right? You want to have a mansion one day, you want to be able to provide for your entire family, and you never have to worry about that ever again. They never have to worry about it. You want to buy a car for your mom, or you want to pay off a house for your father, or whatever like that. These are dreams, these are big dreams, but they're desires, but they're not your immediate want. Your want might be, you want 50 bums on seats for your next challenge,
Mhm.
right? Your want might be, forget 50, you might want 10 confirmed bums on seats paid on
Right.
upgraded on the VIP, for example. So that's an immediate want. Okay, great. So we notice these things with our clients, and then we focus just on those wants and those frustrations, and then we build on that for them for 5 days. Give them that so that they're happy. They see that the value in it is what they wanted and they got. And now the next problem arises, and that's when we can help them further. So that's how we roll. They go
Wow.
into our high ticket.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a great strategy, because once you engage them, like the way that you do, I mean, it becomes very powerful. Now I'm trying to build up that situation as well, where uh, the mistakes thing that Myron says, like, move away from pain and so on. So I
That's
was like,
right.
that's a great way to get the attention of cold leads, get them to
Yes.
become your leads, then you get them into the challenge. So I mean, like,
Yes.
you mentioned that you have got your clients 100K days and
Yes.
$1 million days.
Yes.
So do you do that with, like,
Challenges.
challenges, workshops,
Yep.
events? Uh,
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, so we do. Good question. So we teach them the challenge framework and the system, and we let them know how they can use that as part of the sales process. We also have an execution week, which is a 3-day workshop, and we actually help them to learn a webinar technique. We give them the templates, we give them the framework because we've done both and we've seen power in both of them. The challenge obviously is longer because you get a good 10 hours with them if you accumulated together 10 to 12 hours, which is really powerful, versus a 45-minute or a 1 hour. But we've cracked the code with regards to webinar. So, one of the things that we've classified the webinar thing is we show them that you got to build trust. Most of the times, you and I were talking about this before we jumped on live, which was a lot of coaches who've never done a challenge before. They want to do their first challenge, especially if they outsource it to someone like yourself, and they have this massive expectation that you're gonna bring the home run, right? You're the one who's going to bring them that 6-figure day on their first challenge, and they've never done a blooming challenge, and they think you're the one who's going to save the day. It's almost like thinking, oh, great, you got a coach, but you're going to win the Wimbledon by getting the coach to play, and you're just going to hold the racket. No, it doesn't work like that, right?
Yeah.
You have to put in the time, and you gotta. Yes, your support team will give you the playbook, but the one to play has to be you. And when you're going to play a high level game, at the end of the day, you have to practice more than you play. That's what professionals do. They practice more than they play. Amateurs play more than they practice. And so um, that's why we teach our clients how important it is for them to build trust. And a great tool to build trust in 45 minutes is a webinar, is a presentation like that, automated, don't have to be there, they can watch it during their time, not your time, and that allows them to start building trust. Because again, at the end of the day, it's nothing else but a piece of content. It's a long form 45-minute version of content. But the problem is the webinars can be so boring, and most people try to sell them things on that. It makes it predictable to why it won't work, because it's done that way. Versus if someone took a webinar and taught that as a training, again focused on the value that they see, the audience sees as valuable, and solve a problem for them through that 45-minute without expecting them to buy your whatever low, mid, or high ticket offer, would be a great thing, because someone would go, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. The guy's actually solving my problem because he told me this is my problem. He's in my head. Now in the training of 45 minutes, I got the answer. He didn't beat around the bush. He didn't fluff around. He didn't give me this thing of the spiel of, oh, I'm just going to tell you high level because I only have 45 minutes. But for the rest of it, you have to come to my coaching program. No. He gave me what I needed to solve this problem. Fantastic. Apply it. And that's cool, because guess what? When they apply it, they're going to get the result most likely. If they don't get the result, they'll come back for help. If they do get the result, they'll come back anyway, right? And so done right, a webinar platform at the end with a great call to action. And that's something that we teach these guys, of what to say at the end of the webinar that allows them to want to say, it's a no-brainer. I want to talk to you. Not I want to work with you. I want to talk to you. They say I want to talk to you, versus you telling them, hey, you come and talk to me if you need something more about this. No. And so when that becomes a trust building tool, the challenges become a sales conversion tool. It takes away the focus of trying to build trust in the challenge. Now you don't have to worry about building trust in the challenge. The challenge is, they come to the challenge already buying into the trust. They trust you. They know you can deliver some cool things. Yeah, you'll get some who come directly to the challenge and they haven't gone through a webinar platform, for example, and that's fine. But majority of the times, if they're coming to the challenge, they're coming because they already trust you now, and they're looking forward to want to keep working through with you. And then that becomes like an addiction. Because what happens, Moose, when you like something, when you go to a restaurant, let's say your stomach's full and you've eaten and you're done the main, and now you know that you love something on the dessert menu, but your tummy's really full. What do you do anyway?
I'll just grab it.
Just exactly, you'll do it anyway. You'll order it anyway, bro. So it's the same thing. They'll grab it even if they're full. They'll grab it because they love it so much. They want more of it.
They won't stop. They won't want to
They
stop.
won't stop. No. How do we get to that place? Because I used to get very frustrated, not have I loved wanting to be at that place, but I found it very hard to get there because I didn't know how to do it. I tried to figure it out myself. And then I realized I can't do it myself. I have to be able to work with a team of experts. I need the support from the experts. So we teamed up with a group of people that actually taught us stuff. We invested in ourselves. I don't look at paying them as a way to invest in them. It's an investment in me.
Right.
So Myron is one of our mentors. we invested $155,000 because
Oh, you're in
we
the inner
knew what we
circle.
were going to get back 100%. So it changed everything for us. It literally changed everything. The whole perspective changed. The way our posture changed for our clients. We actually ended up serving our clients even way better than we did before. Just mind blowing. So it comes with that. It comes with that responsibility of not trying to do it alone.
Yeah, I mean, like I really wanted to ask you this because, like, if you're Myron Golden student, because I am as well. Like, he's one of my mentors,
Yay.
and we can.
Woo! Let's
So,
go.
yeah, I mean,
Shout
like,
out
I'm
to
looking
Myron
forward to
Golden.
the inner circle. It's really good. Huge shout out to Myron. I mean, he really teaches good stuff, and I
Yeah.
think when you mentioned that you do the webinar and then you get them into a challenge, so you sell the challenge in the webinar itself.
No. We in the webinar, the only thing we sell them, we don't sell them, but we give them a gift of working, having a call with us and having a chat with us and doing a brainstorming session. So we'll literally do a brainstorming call with them. It's not a strategy. It's none of that. We don't muck around with the words to make it flowery. We literally do a brainstorm session. The idea is really, okay, great. You solved the problem on that training you had. What do you need now? And then they tell us what they need, and then we go, great, okay, here are three things you need to do, and run with it. Alternatively, if you want, you can work with us. These are what our clients do. If you want that extra help, if you don't, then these three things you need to go. There are two ways you can do it. You can do it the slow way or the fast way. The slow way is you go and figure it out yourself with these three steps. Fast way is do it with us. You decide. And normally they want to do it fast, so they go, great, hey, we want to do it with you. Sometimes they'll just migrate directly into our program. So we have like a membership program called Video It,
Mm-hmm.
where it's all about showing up, getting accountability, strategy, and support. So they show
Mm-hmm.
up once a week, and we give them the framework and the strategy. They go ahead and shoot the video while they're in the call in a breakout room, and then they end up posting those videos on their social media platforms, including in the group, private group, so we can provide them with feedback there and then make sure they can improvise with their content. So we do that, or they'll go into a high ticket.
Wow. I mean, I love how you have structured everything so well. When everything is working for you, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think, and at the same time, it's giving people results, right? When they are on the webinar or the challenge
Yeah.
itself, because it's like a feeling, right? So if your clients or your attendees are getting the feeling that they are getting something, just the feeling would send them into what you're doing, right? And I think that's huge. So I think you're doing one challenge right now, which is known as Make More Videos Challenge. Or
Yes.
have you done any other challenges before? Or this is the one you've been running.
Yeah, good question. So before this one, we ran a 20. It was called it was a very lame name. It was called Market Your Message 21 Days. It was a very long name. 21 Days Videos Challenge. It was a 21-day challenge. The same challenge, but it was run for 21 days. That was where it all started. This started before COVID. No, it started during COVID. Sorry, it was the start of COVID, and we said, great, let's go ahead and help people create content, and we're going to do it one a day, one video a day. So we'll create 21 pieces of content in 21 days, and we'll provide them with coaching and support they need to make sure they get that done. Oh my God, that was a gangbuster decision. It was so good because there were people that were new, never shot any videos, never done any of that. All of a sudden, one of the initial videos of the 21 during the challenge pops them like multiple six-figure deals, not one, multiple. Like this person who had it
Wow.
was a mortgage finance broker, right? He had like multiple six-figure deals signed through one video that the audience saw, that became their clients because of the level of intimacy that he could express himself through the camera, which his
Mhm.
competition doesn't do, still doesn't do. And he's not in that field anymore. He moved on from there, but the videos that he got and he created transformed his life. Not only the fact that it transformed businesses, it
Right.
literally transformed it. So the challenge was more life transforming than anything else for a lot of our challenges, those who took massive action, and the retention was very high. So we would have most of our challenges stay right till the end, because normally people would go, oh my God, 21 days, dude, that's way too long. Like, who would want to stay? Who would want to keep coming back? People will drop off after the second or third day, which happens in a 5 day anyway. Why will they stay for 21 days? But to our surprise, we had no reference to a 5 day, so we had no idea, right? We just had
Right.
21 days. We were running with it because we knew that model worked. We
Uh-huh.
modeled Peng Jun, who is another mentor of ours, and Peng Jun runs a 21-day videos challenge. So we modeled exactly that methodology of the duration, except our energy, I love Peng Jun. Sorry, Peng, if you listen, but our energy is a way different energy right up there, and we bring in a balance of the left brain and the right brain. We're bringing the emotional side and the logical side, right? And that's something that we saw gaps in his challenge, which is great because thanks to him, that's what a mentor does, shows you what, demonstrates from their side as well, allowed us to take that and build ours, and we got massive cool outcomes from that. A
Mm.
woman named Samantha, she froze day 2. She froze, she didn't want to show up on camera after that. Like, she didn't, day 3 she wasn't there, and we're going, where is Sam? So we're checking in on her, making sure she's okay. And then she replies, she comes out of the woodworks and she says, guys, I'm so sorry I'm letting you guys down, because I don't know what it is. I can talk in an audience, give me a room, I'll be fine with people, but the moment I turn the camera on, I just go blank, I can't say anything. And so we worked with her. He said, don't worry about it. We got you, girl. And so we worked with her for about 25 minutes. And after that, we did an intervention with her. And after that, dude, she went on to do every single video on day 4. She caught up from day 2, day 3. She did all the videos right through the entire challenge. Not just that. Fast forward 3 months later, she started her own YouTube channel proper. She was on a podcast. She had her own podcast, and she ended up getting 2 speaking gigs online in front of 1,000 people across two continents. I was like, dude,
Wow.
this is cool. That's how the challenge should make an impact, right?
Yeah.
Not
I
to
mean,
mention the money she's made from that. So
I'm sure she would have made a lot of money from that.
she did,
But
and
it's really powerful. I mean, like, when you're constantly checking on the people during the challenge, you get to see who is doing the work, who's not doing the work. And
yeah,
when you can do that, you can really not only change their lives, but at the same time create a powerful story for your own self. I mean,
yep,
this story that you just mentioned is super powerful. That shows up your credibility,
yep,
right?
yep.
So, I mean, like, when you mention that you are helping 10x entrepreneurs do this, like they are your target audience for the challenges you're currently doing. What do you mean by 10x entrepreneurs?
So 10x is a coined term used by Grant Cardone. And
Cardone,
Grant
yeah.
Cardone has a whole massive 10x community, which again, Grant is one of our paid mentors. And so we're part of the 10x community. And one of the things that when we were working on our avatar to be able to work with clients to help them grow, we had to find someone that was more, usually you tend to find avatars that are yourselves, right? So we're very 10x minded. We live a 10x super life. We've got this big, audacious, massive way of thinking and growing and working towards it. And we just got this massive, godly given conviction of making things happen. We knew that there are other people in that community that were the same, but they were stuck when it came to videos and social media and getting themselves out there online. We knew they were stuck. So we said, okay, well, why don't we focus on helping these 10Xs, because their mentality, their mindset is already 10X. They're already thinking massive, right? About everything, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's financial. They're already thinking 10X in those regards. We don't have to work on that aspect. Now we just need to give them the system. And once our system plugs into their mindset, boom, they'll get the outcomes because they'll take action anyway. So that's how we started working. We ended up working with 10x's, and we started specifying that we work with 10x's. 10x's can be a very broad term because you have people who are, 10x's who are on the come up. They're brand new, starting a business, first time. They're entrepreneurs, right up to their entrepreneurs and business owners that are seasoned. They're making multi millions in their revenue per year. And so we needed to make sure that we could work with some of these guys that are somewhere in between, somewhere in the sweet spot of about 3 to 5 million, and then be able to help them grow. So that's usually who we tend to work with, or at the most, we work with people who are in the 500,000 sort of place as well, so we could help them grow because they're hungry as well and they got that 10x mentality.
Right?
That was my little one who just walked in.
Yeah,
I don't know how he
yeah.
got in. He just snuck in.
He just
Oh.
opened the door and he came in.
I don't know how he did it. He's 18 months. He can't even reach the handle. I don't think he shut the door right, so he must have just clipped in. Oh, he's cute. Now he's howling away because he's not next to daddy. He's not on the camera.
Yeah. Um. So I mean, like, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, right? And when I saw your landing page for the Make More Video Challenge, you have one coming up in January,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, I saw the timings. They were during the night time in EST and in the
Yeah.
morning time for you. right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? I mean, like I'm not sure if the show print is more, if more people are convenient during the nighttime in the US, or what do you think about that? How is that working for you?
Yeah, that's actually true. It's actually a good question. We experimented around that, and we run most of our work with our clients is around that time, around 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or anywhere between that window of 6 p.m. right up to about 9 or 10 p.m. So if we're doing, say, for example, an execution week, we start that execution week at about 6 in the evening, and then that goes all the way to midnight for them because it's like 4 hours
Wow.
for 3 days in a row. But that's in the evening, and the reason it's good for them in the evening is that they can get rid of everything they need to do during the day. They can finish their work, and then they can focus on developing whatever they need, whether it's developing a software, developing a strategy, whether it's developing a system, whether it's developing themselves personally. They can
Mhm.
focus that energy around that time. So with challenges it was the same thing. We were looking at anywhere around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., making sure we can play in that space. Because again, they finish work and then they can concentrate on it and they can get it done. And our challenge is about getting them to shoot the video during the challenge. We don't give theory and they go away and do the homework later. None of that. It's during the challenge they can actually shoot their videos. If they can't, then of course they can shoot their video after the challenge day and then they can come back the next day with it. But typically we can allow them to do that during that time as well. And plus, like I was saying, one of our memberships that we have, Video It, we in the breakout room we actually get them to shoot their video. So there are people there that will show up at 7 p.m. Some of them will show up a little later, but they'll usually do that because they're putting the kids to bed and then they come onto the call and now they're free to be able to participate. And we found that great. Like in the US it's much easier for these guys to work in the evening. um, I love to do that too. I love to do anything that's not related to our company stuff. I like to do that in the evening if we can. But
Mhm.
then again, when it comes to the way we operate during our day, we just like to do our daily stuff during the mornings for us in Melbourne, Australia. So it's easier.
Wow, that's really an interesting insight, because most of the people think that if you're targeting people who are entrepreneurs, then you gotta do it in the morning, like 9 a.m. to
Mm.
11 a.m. just like
Yeah.
Myron does it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So it's like during the weekdays you have to do it, not in the weekends and so on. So I think that
Yeah.
that was a really good insight. I think we should be trying that time as well.
Yeah, give that a go, 100%.
Yeah.
And even like when we run our challenge, and we sometimes we do like we'll do a Saturday. We do definitely don't do a Sunday, but for me it's a Sunday because my Sunday is their Saturday in the US because we're
Yeah.
ahead. But again, I don't shift that. Even though it's a weekend, I don't change it for them to do it to show up on Saturday morning. I still continue to do it for them on Saturday evening, so they can still do, because typically on a Saturday, their parents, etc., they've got kids soccer and basketball or whatever it is that the kids have got going on. And so, they can do what they need to do, but then they've got that fixed time. And plus, it's programmed, right? They know it's a routine because every day they've been doing it from, say, 6 to 8. So now they can continue to do that. At the most, sometimes we'll just do it at 5 p.m. So we'll wrap it up earlier.
Uh-huh.
But we still keep it in the evening as opposed to in the morning or daytime. And it works. It really works well for these guys.
And
Again, it only works because we keep them engaged. Because don't forget, they're really tired. These guys are like tired on a long day. Some of them would have had a rough day. Anything is
yeah,
possible, right? So
yeah,
the challenge, like, there's one thing that I personally see a lot of challenges that lack is energy.
energy.
Like the facilitator will be like, "Hey, it's a great day, yay!" Like literally, that's how they talk. And I'm going,
Yeah,
"No, that's not how it should be." Why? Because I didn't make the rules up, but I just know that if you're saying you're feeling great, then show you're feeling great, right? Like get out of your skin and your comfort, get out of it, because you have to allow yourself to get out of your head and get into your body and express yourself. If you're passionate about it, then show your passion. Just don't say you're passionate, because saying doesn't make any jack of a difference. And a lot of
yeah.
people are stuck in their head, which is why they come across as dead on camera or in their events. But the moment they drop out of their head and they get into their body, it's no different to dancing to your favorite song or your favorite dance style. You just go crazy. You don't care like the world is watching. You don't care. You're like on the floor, you're moving, even if it's your own floor at home. You just move because you're not thinking calculatively how you should move your arms or how your legs should move. You don't think all those things. You're not thinking. You're feeling the music. You're feeling the beat. You're feeling the rhythm. That's feeling.
Mhm.
It means you dropped out of your head into your body. And so we are so particularly conscious that whether we're doing an event or whether we're living our life off events, we're always in that state as much as possible. And there are days we're not, but we're consciously making a habit to live like that because most people are not like that. But when they see that, it's a subliminal way of giving them permission to say they can be that, and they go, oh, if he can be like that, if she can be like that, I can too.
I
They're not
can do
any special.
this.
They bleed the same blood. They drink water for thirst and they eat food for hunger. So they can do it. Why can't we? And they get permission. And when you encourage someone with that permission, now you're really, really impacting them to flourish. So that's
Absolutely.
valuable.
Absolutely. I mean, like you can say the lie from your mouth, but your body always shows the truth, right? So,
Mhm.
so, so I mean, I love that. I mean, you have to maintain the energy throughout the challenge because otherwise, everybody would be sleepy during the challenge in the first place.
100%.
Yeah, I've literally seen some people sleep during the challenge because the energy of the host and everything is too low. And
Yeah.
and I mean, it's really interesting how you say that. It's because like I see that you're following um, Russell, Tony Robbins, Pedro's format of doing challenges, right? Like free challenge before, get them into an event, and then sell them your high ticket stuff during the event, right? So I mean, and you mentioned that you have already done a challenge, like paid challenges before in the minors
Yes.
format. So what do you think is the difference, and where do you think it's going right now? What have your experiences been doing both?
Um, Paid challenges has gotten us more people that are serious in the challenge, um, because they paid more than someone compared to our free challenge where someone is just shown they've signed up but they don't show up. And
Mm,
like every coach has heard this before. If they don't pay,
they
they
won't
won't
pay.
correct, they won't pay attention. So it's so important to be able to charge is what I feel. um, un- at least knowing that you won't have to worry about people even if you're charging them $1, that's okay. But they've made a commitment, and yes, they paid a little, which is as little as $1, so they'll pay a little attention. But I'll tell you what, little attention is better than no attention. You know what I mean? So it's way better. So what we found was that definitely works when you get paid, and we were challenged on that as well. Like when we hired an agency, there was an ad agency for Facebook. um, we hired them because they were really great. They were known in the industry for you know filling up rooms around the world,
Mhm.
and they were for both online and offline. Um, and one of the things that and they've worked with people like Russell, they've worked with people like Myron, they've worked with some of these big players, and they challenged me and they challenged us as a company, and they said, well, why would you want to go paid? Why don't you do free instead? Because let's be honest, you're not Myron Golden. And I'm like, thank you. It doesn't hurt my ego. I already know that. But it doesn't, I don't, no one, no coach, no coaching company has to be a Myron Golden or a Russell Brunson or a Tony Robbins to be able to run a paid challenge. You don't have to be that. As long as, again, if you can understand your audience and give them what they really are frustrated with and what they really want and help them with those things in your messaging, they'll come and they'll pay for it, because now the price is this much versus what they think is valuable is way more than that much. So they'll pay for it. So that's where I challenged him back and I said, no, you go and get me bums on seats based on that. Anyway, he was a goofball, so we had to fire that company. um, we because we were getting people filling up our challenge organically, let alone paid. So we knew it worked. There's no two ways about it. But the quality was definitely way better because people paid more attention. Even if they came in as the general admission ticket for $97, they were still paying attention compared to someone who signs up for free now and they don't even show up, right? So there is that difference. People will experience that. You will get more signups, which is great because you get volume. If you do it for free, you will get more people sign up. You'll have a massive amount of volume. Um, but the problem with that is you have to take the risk because you'll get high volume. It'll feel good for your ego, but just know that your conversion rates could look different because the people that will actually attend will probably be about 25% or 30%. And so compared to someone who's paid, we noticed that you don't get 25, 30%, you get way more. Like we were getting about 78, 82% conversion of attendance ratio showing up, which is great. So again, we've got high paying clients who pay us $150,000 kind of programs. They don't show up. Okay, they don't show up. um, so it's not the money amount that will dictate it, But the general rule of thumb is this: that people pay no attention if they don't pay anything at all. So we saw that, and it's not a bad strategy. Why does it work for Pedro? Why does Pedro promote that? Why are we running that in the first place as well? If that's the case, right? Well, because we've reached a place where we can afford to be able to get people in that place. We've built a brand authority where we're known in the industry for being able to deliver what we do. We don't have to prove ourselves to anyone anymore, right? We don't have to worry about it. So if we get people that are time wasters, it doesn't affect us, because the ones that we're focused on are the ones that are really interested in wanting to change their own lives, and they upgrade anyway. So it's a no biggie. And so that's the main focus area of those people. And most of the times, people who sign up to a high-end coaching programs are people that are upgraded, not even the general admission who would sign up at 97. We never had any client who signed up to a high ticket through the general admission. They were always the VIPs.
VIP members.
Mm, always. So again, the VIP thing is a psychological thing. It doesn't mean if you have a VIP ticket for $297 versus a VIP ticket for $97, your $297 guy is going to sign up to your high ticket and the other one won't. No, the status makes a big difference for people. So they have significance attached to it. If they're VIP, they're going to pay more attention because they know they deserve the best. They deserve VIP. So with that thought process of they deserve the best, they realize when you're the one who's going to help them with your team to get there faster and further, they go, of course, it's a no-brainer. We deserve to move faster and farther. Let's go. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, like when Myron introduced this concept of platinum members on top of the VIP members, I was like, when I started studying these challenges, right, and I really understood the concept behind why they are the ones who are actually signing up. It's because, like, one, they get the experience, like you get to ask questions, and the second thing is, like, you have conversations with them, right? So when you have conversations, you get more connected with the other person. Like we are having a conversation over here. Imagine you were just speaking and I was just listening to you, or I would be speaking, you would be just listening, right? So general admissions, on the other hand, they do not get that same experience. So
No, they don't.
it's very small group of people from general admission who actually make a decision. But what they do is, if they get good value, the next challenge that they do, or the coach does, they sign up as a VIP of platinum.
Yes. Yep. And I've done that. I'm sure you've done that too, right? You'll sign up.
Absolutely.
Most of the times you'll take the free stuff, then you'll try to get the lowball stuff, and then if you really like it, then the second time you'll come around and go, okay, because now there's trust. Now there's like a no-brainer. The buyer's biased decision is already made. So you're biased already towards the person. You don't mind paying that extra buck to come in, and it's okay, even if you're paying the second time, because that shows that for the coach, it shows that your audience, your client, really is digging your stuff. They're finding you valuable now. In fact, they might even bring someone else on the challenge as opposed to just doing it themselves the second time around. Because they ought to talk to someone. If someone's going to sign up to a VIP the second time around versus the first, they've definitely spoken to someone else about your challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting. I mean, like, before we talk about the numbers, I just wanted to make sure that you're comfortable with talking about the numbers, like
Yeah.
the conversion rates,
Yep.
the
Yep.
money you have made. Are you
Yep.
comfortable with that? Only then I'm
Yeah.
going to with it.
Yeah. No,
Like,
we could talk some.
rapid
We could
fire.
definitely talk some numbers. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, like, when you were talking about, like, how your conversion rate were different during the challenges when you were doing paid versus the free ones, I want to talk a bit about the numbers. So what we're gonna do over here is gonna do a short rapid fire kind of stuff where we're gonna discuss the numbers. So if you're
Sounds
comfortable,
good.
okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So number one, like, how many challenges you have done in total so far?
Oh wow. I would say we've done close to 36 challenges.
What, really?
Close to 36 challenges. I wouldn't have the accurate number. I would say we'd be somewhere around the 36 mark, 34, 36 mark, 100%.
Wow, wow, that's a lot of challenges. Myron has done around 32.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I wish
amazing.
I knew he was running challenges when he was doing them, because I was going, man, I would no, actually. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he started doing challenges
2021
just around the
challenge.
same time we did. Yeah, correct. We did. But I wish I knew he was doing them then, because I would have been like, oh my God, I'll just implement what he was doing. I wouldn't have done the 21-day challenge. Then again, no regrets.
Absolutely. So how often do you do the challenges right now in a year?
Once a month.
Monthly? Monthly?
Monthly. Yeah, monthly.
Wow. Wow.
Unless it's a really important reason why we won't run it. But generally, we'll do it once a month for sure.
Awesome. So, how many people register on your challenges on a free challenge versus the paid challenge?
We'd usually get a good ratio. So if we say, for example, if we had 100, if we had 100 people, we'll have roughly around 22 of them sign up, 22, 24 sign up into the VIP. The rest of them would be into the general admission. And then we would do our best through the general admission during the challenge to promote them to be able to say get into the VIP. Would incentivize them. We'd do cash prizes. We'll try and make sure that we get more numbers to up that, and we have. We've managed to get at least 12 to 18%, somewhere in that range, to be able to push people to come in. Not consistently, but we've seen that. I'd say on an average, we've seen about 12 to 18% people moving in during the challenge, moving into VIP because you said something very important. The conversations you have is a way of, it's a dialogue now. It's not a monologue. And all of a sudden, these guys feel like they're missing out. So there are three types of buyers. This is what we teach people in our clients, and hopefully the coaches, listening might either use it or have a variation of it. There are logical buyers, there are emotional buyers, and then there are FOMO buyers. These are people that they have this massive fear of missing out and stuff. So it's those people that we talk to about missing out, and they see it because we do the last 15 minutes. We actually open up that into a live stream, and we allow
Yeah.
them to see that, much like what Myron does too. And so we do that only because we want to sample and show them a high level of how we can coach people. And when they start seeing that, two things happen. If there are coaches in that audience, they turn around and go, I can see, I just learned something. I got a tip from Sohan and Vass. I see how they coached the client, the person. But also, if the person in the audience has asked a question which they're facing as a problem, and these guys are facing the problem, now they get the solution for it through that dialogue. So it's a double whammy effect, which is really cool. So then they see that and they go, oh my God, I got it. The former guys, they want to jump in there. They want to upgrade.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So you're saying that you're getting at least around 50 people to sign up for your paid challenges, and
Yeah.
around and how many for free challenges if you're doing one?
Yeah, so for free challenges, we started doing free challenges about 3 months ago. Free challenges, we get a higher number of people. I can't think of a number right now for you, and they'll probably go. Got to give you a number on that one. I should know my numbers, but I know on the back end, I know that with our VIP, we dropped the price on the VIP. We brought it down to 97, making it affordable. So we're seeing more people migrate across from the free to the VIP because it's a no-brainer for someone to spend $100. Everyone loses $100 if they're thinking of risk factor, but then we guarantee them they can take their $100 back if they don't get more 10x more the value than what they would have expected out of 97. So usually we'll see at least a 50-50 of people who are going from free to paid, and that's good. In the last 3 months, we've seen that happen, which is a good sign. We just now have to maintain that. I'm not in a hurry to increase that. I think that's fair enough. If I get about 50 people signing up, 100 people signing up, and 50 of them upgrading, no complaints. I'll be happy
Yeah,
with that.
that's really good, because like the operation rate that you just mentioned, I don't think that's really industry standard, because I think if the more people you get, the lesser amount of people you get into the VIP room if the number
Yep.
gets bigger and bigger. You see, like
Yep.
in Tony Robbins' challenges, they get around 100, like 300, 400,000 people to join the like free challenge, and then
Yep.
around 40, 50,000 of them actually buy into the VIP, and
Correct.
those are the ones who actually purchase. So
Correct.
50% is a lot.
Correct.
It's
Yep.
like that's really good. So
I think it comes back to the kind of. It's also because of the kind of topic we're in. Videos. It's yes, it's very confronting, but at the same time, there is a lot of energy that allows us. Oh, look who's here. We've got ladies and gentlemen, for your audiences, I just want you to see, and I want to introduce you the household name, Orlando Lopez. There's a little
the
fellow. This one right here is going to say hello to our audience right here. You want to say hello? You're on camera, and the whole world is seeing you. Yay! So this is little Orlando.
what's his
Our
name?
clients know him. He's the funny thing is he's not camera shy,
Oh,
as you can
absolutely.
tell.
I can say that. What's his name?
He's on to it. So yeah, this is you're right here with Moose, and you're in front of Moose's audience, and we're on the Beyond Challenge podcast. Did I say the right Beyond Challenge podcast?
Challenges.
And this is the place where Daddy and everybody else gets a chance to share their stories and help other coaches to be able to make. There you go. He says exactly right. There you go. So it's really powerful. He draws the attention in for our clients. That's probably why upgrades also happen, because they see him. I'm just
That's really good. I mean, he's lovely. And what's
like
his name, by the way?
Orlando.
Sorry,
Orlando.
Orlando. Wow.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's a really good name.
That's a
And he's
household
in
name. Everyone's gonna know that name for sure. Orlando Lopez.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. So sharing, the fact that, like you said, you're right. The numbers are higher because when you look at the kind of work and the industry and the niche that we're picking, um, the mentality and the mindset's different. 10x's are used to being sold and used to being upgraded. That's the
Mm,
other thing, because one of the things in 10x is always about, you know you're either sold to or you're going to be the one who's selling. That's the mentality. So
yeah,
they know what they're walking into, as opposed to the general audience who is kind of put off with upsells and stuff like that,
right.
right? And
So
that
they
makes a
come
big
with a
difference, which is
different
what makes
mindset.
it easier for us. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right, absolutely. So,
I'm right. Carry on. You keep going. I'm listening.
okay, so what do you think is the conversion ratio to your upselling offer towards the end in a paid challenge versus a free challenge?
We've
And
seen no difference in that one because, again, it's VIP. So there's no massive difference in the conversion ratio. We thought there would be a different sort of a conversion. We thought we'd see a higher conversion with, the free plus upgrade model compared to the paid model. We didn't see any of that as a difference, but the conversion ratios for us sit around the 20 to 30% mark. And the reason for that is because we're selling an extremely high ticket $150,000 offer on the back of so there's a massive disparity if you look at it. The ticket price is at 97 on an upgrade, but in 5 days they get a chance to look at an offer of $150,000. So it's a big jump.
wow, so you sell $150,000 offer right from a 5-day challenge?
Yep.
Wow, that's
And it
insane.
was not easy at the beginning. It was very painful, because
Yeah,
much like what we were sharing earlier, it was like, oh yeah, we'd be able to crack it. There was a lot of confidence, but it wasn't easy to get those people to say okay to it. And there were different factors involved in that. One, we learned that we needed to have more. Again, we had to think of how we can make it more valuable for someone to drop their resistance and their barrier of entry, and being able to keep that, because you spend 5 days in making it so valuable that they see that whatever you're going to offer is going to be so much more worth than the money they spend, until they get to that point where they realize, going, okay, reality checks in for them when it comes to pragmatic approach of logistics and how they're going to move money around, etc. And they may not have those funds, and it's not them, it's really up to us in terms of making sure we have funding partners, we have facilities and resources that can help them move forward, because they want to move forward fast. So that has to happen right out the gate there, not after they sign up. So we didn't demonstrate that initially, and that obviously held us back from signing up people faster. But the moment we had funding partners involved and having the right people on the team, it just made it easier for us to turn around and give options to our clients to say, okay, here you go. How do you want to get in? And that makes a big difference. Yeah,
wow, that's really interesting. So it for everybody who's listening, I mean, I just want to like mention this that there is no limit to how much you can sell from a challenge. I mean, this
that's
is
right.
just like $150,000 from a challenge, a 5-day challenge from a $97 ticket or a free or $97 ticket. It's a big jump, but it is possible. It's just
Yes.
like you can make the process easy, right? Just
Yes,
as
absolutely.
Sohan mentioned. So basically, like you mentioned that you are not using ads to fill up your challenge.
Correct.
So you're using the leads that you have already generated from the lead generation options, and you are sending them like automate emails, the different sequences to get them into the challenge, right?
Correct. Yep. And we're using a lot of our social media platform to do that, because our audience is dialed in on Facebook, so we know where they live, and then it just becomes easier for us to be able to talk to them on Facebook, to be able to get them constantly in front of mind. And we've got this attitude of wanting to be known, even though we're not the best. As long as you're the best, you'll not be successful. But as long as you're best known, you'll be very successful financially. So that's something we picked up from Grant, and so we focus on that. Going, okay, how can I be in front of someone's face today and get there? And then that
Right.
allows us to be able to remind them of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. The more number of times you get in front of your audience, the more they're going to remember you, right? Not
Absolutely.
not with your audience, like anybody else. So,
That's
finally, one last question for the numbers: how much have you made so far, just from your
so.
challenges? Just
So
from
from the oh, that's actually a great question. Our challenge has actually brought in close to overall we brought in about 280,000 just cash collected from challenges, net profit, net, and that's working. So if you do the math on that, 36 times 10, that's about 360 hours, and we've made over $250,000 net.
two hundred
And
fifty
when
thousand
you
from 36
from
challenges.
from 36 challenges, $250,000 has been pure net profit. But if you because our margins were very low, we couldn't make the margins as high as what the other players are playing in the marketplace. But our overall gross profit, I mean, our gross revenue has been over close to a million or 1.1. I'd say 1.1 over a 36 challenge process. Now we didn't we didn't go in the higher scale because a lot of people went, why would you do so many challenges for just $1 million? Because you can have $1 million in a day. Um, we didn't do that is because we wanted to create a handful of clients in 36 challenges that we can serve at a very high level. So from the challenges alone, I'm talking about ticket sales. The revenue that we made on the back end from the high ticket is different, right? So we've had
Oh, I
about
was yeah, I was talking about the back end stuff. So
oh
from the
okay
front end, of course, I mean like $1 million from 36 challenges. That's really good numbers. I was like, you're selling your $150,000 offer, and you said that you made 1 million from this
yeah.
challenges. No,
Yeah, because when we introduced the and when we introduced the $150,000 offer, it would have been about a year and a half ago.
okay,
Up until then, the same offer we were charging $2,500 right at the beginning.
okay,
Let me
two and a
repeat
half
that.
thousand,
So
so twenty
yeah,
five
so
hundred
you were
dollars.
so $2,500. Yeah. So yes, yeah. So
Wow. Okay.
if we knew what we now know, we would have started charging $150,000 back then. By the way, nothing changed with the program.
That's
Nothing
really
changed with the program. So how did it shift from $2,500 a piece to 150,000? Well, it was pure belief.
belief.
That's what it came down to. We worked through our belief system. I think that's what happens when you invest, with people like Myron. They really shift your perspective, and when you bring in mentors like that, and it doesn't have to be Myron. It could be anyone else. It could be a team of people that really know how to support you, have the knowledge, have the framework, and have the system in place where you can feel confident to execute and help your clients. That allowed us to really grow our confidence to say, okay, now we have what we need. We can go ahead and increase the price point because the delivery was way more, and we underestimated that. So,
Mhm.
with that, say for example, our high ticket is called a Millionaire Marketing Mastery Program. It's a 12-month program. The guarantee on that program is $1 million. If they don't make $1 million, then we refund their money plus we give them $1,000 tacos, so tacos money, so they can go and enjoy that with the family. So we decided, okay, let's really go with this play of increasing our price point on the ticket, but we'll reduce the number of people that we work with. And the reason we did that is because in the year and a half, I've been a dad, I've got a baby, and we changed our plans in terms of how we wanted to grow the company. I think I
Mhm.
mentioned it before in the beginning that, Vas, my queen, who's also the queen of confidence on camera, the founder, and we worked as a power couple for our clients. She's taken the backseat in the last year and a half. So obviously that's, for us to put that pressure on the team, as us and also our clients, was way too much. So we said, okay, let's take the foot off the pedal. I want to be an amazing 7-star father. I need that time. I want to spend less time in the company. I want to spend more time in the family. So that's why we reduced the number of people to work with. And we've literally in the last year and a half worked with about 6, 7 people. That's it, right? In
Mm.
our mastermind. And I mean, you do the math on that, right? 150,000 times 7. And it's been very, very fruitful. And that to us has been more valuable than anything else because we can spend 1 hour 2 times a month and we can coach our client versus previously we would meet with them every week and we would literally spend hours sometimes. We would just make it so flexible and open. We would take a lot of time for $2,500. Just, I don't want to say the word, but it was ridiculous. So, people listening, charge more, believe that you can charge more, as long as you know that you can 10x the value of whatever it is that you're charging from a financial perspective. If you're in a soft business, as in soft offer, and it's not financial related, and it's something to do with, I don't know, healing, um, or breath work or something like that, you can still consider evaluating what their result is worth, and then 10x that and show them how you, or at least divide that by 10 and then offer that as a price point. And then it doesn't become about high ticket being 150,000 or 2,500. It becomes valuable in contrast to what you think it is. So it's more relevant now. If, hopefully that's useful for the listeners.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it all comes down to like, Myron always says this, that you do not necessarily have to make somebody 10x the money. You can save somebody's 10x times money,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
even in
That's right.
soft offers. So,
That's right.
so with this, before we end the podcast, I wanted to ask you this one question: if somebody is on the fence of doing a challenge, what would your one tip be for them?
If they're on the fence, I'd say get off the fence, because it hurts if you sit on the fence as long as you do. And it's already hurting. So get off the fence, do it. Reason you do it is because there's enough proof and there's enough evidence out there that challenges work. They absolutely work. It's not the challenge that can work or not. The challenge is just a vehicle. It's a tool.
Mm,
What you have to look back at is if that is relevant to the way you're going to solve the problem for your people. Um, Sometimes it's not about that. You just look at the problem that they have, and it can be solved through an email. You don't need a challenge, right? You don't need a workshop. It can be solved through an email. Okay, well, if that's the case, then that's the vehicle. That's what it's got to be. But since we're in the context of a challenge, and we know, let's assume that challenges are relevant to solving the problem, and it is a vehicle, it's a suitable vehicle to solve the problem of your clients, then you got to make sure that you take the challenge by the horns and realize that it's value driven, in these 5 days, because you're spending what, 12 hours, 10, 12 hours at the most, an hour with VIP and about an hour doing the general. You would really spend about 10 to 12 hours with someone. If those 10 to 12 hours can solve that problem, as opposed to just luring them and teasing them, there will be more confidence for you to get into it and deliver it. And finally, I'll say, work with a proven system. Don't figure it out yourself. So if there is a system that's already there, so I know, like, for a fact, Moose does it, right, for his clients. He's got a proven system. So if there is a proven system, take it. It's proven, it's tested, it's trialed, it's perfected. Why would you waste your time trying to figure it out yourself? If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go really far with what you're trying to do, then work with a team.
mm.
You don't need to sit on the fence.
Love that, love that. Thank you so much, Sohan. It was a pleasure having you over here, and
Man,
I'm sure
pleasure.
every listener would be really really grateful to you as well, along with me. It was a really good
Thank
lesson,
you.
a lot of good lessons. Thank you so much for being here, and definitely looking forward to doing more with you.
Oh, absolutely, dude. It's an honor to be here, man. It was a lot of fun. Well, I'm looking for the jam again with you and do this. And I hope your audience has got a lot of value from it, and keep on rocking it out. Challenges are a lot of fun to make an impact, make an influence, and make a great amount of income. Let's go.
Absolutely. See you soon.
See you soon. Thanks, Moose.
All right, so with that, we come to an end of this podcast. If you loved it, then go ahead and leave a like. And at the same time, I have a gift for you. Now, one of the biggest mistakes, there are a lot of big mistakes that people make while trying to do a challenge. And I just jotted down the 7 big mistakes that stop people or coaches making 6 figures with their challenges. So I have dropped the training down below. Go ahead and sign up for it and see what is it exactly. It's absolutely for free. See it and go ahead and launch a challenge, because the more you sit on the fence, it's gonna hurt you. Okay, so with that, we come to an end. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Till then, stay safe and keep creating for a change.